Watch where you walking, nigga. Hey, what you say, nigga?
Dear Dragon Ball fans, do you love the Boondocks? Well, the thing is that I've wanted to talk about the Boondocks for a long time on this channel, and the truth is that the only reason I haven't is because obviously the majority of you guys have subscribed for Dragon Ball, and I didn't think you guys would care, but you guys have done some things over the last few weeks that have really convinced me that there's a very, very strong, passionate love for the Boondocks in this community. And it would actually make a lot of sense considering the fact that if the majority of you guys are in your mid-20s to early-ish 30s and are in my relative age range, then that would mean that you probably grew up with a lot of the similar shows that obviously people in our age range grew up with. You probably saw the Boondocks on either Comedy Central or you saw it on Adult Swim, and as a result of it, Boondocks was one of the other shows that you were watching along with Dragon Ball and the other anime of our time. So when you think about it from a logical point of view, it would make sense for Boondocks to be popular amongst Dragon Ball fans. And what I've noticed about Dragon Ball fans specifically is that there's a very, very strong crossover between the black community and Dragon Ball. Not saying that only black people love Dragon Ball, but it seems like there's a good amount of black people that love it. And what I also notice is that there's a good amount of white people that love the Boondocks. Like, you look at Boondocks and think it's a black show, but I've met a lot of white and Latino people who are fascinated with the Boondocks, and it's truly an amazing thing. But where did all of this come from? Well, recently, I posted a couple of polls over the last few weeks, kind of to gauge what you guys think in terms of content, and also just to get an idea of statistically how popular certain shows of the past and present are. And you guys will never believe this. So I posted a poll asking you guys, what do you think is the best show between the Boondocks, Family Guy, The Simpsons, and also, wait, it was Family and King of the Hill. King of the Hill. Those four shows. And out of those four options, Boondocks was winning by such a massive margin. And by massive margin, it was winning by like 60 to 65%, that I just took it out of the poll to make it more competitive, and ultimately ended up just going with King of the Hill, The Simpsons, and Family Guy. And obviously King of the Hill won that, which is another conversation for another day, guys. If you guys can pause the video real quick and answer this question for me kind of separately, because this video is about the Boondocks, please explain to me in your reasons why you felt King of the Hill beat Simpsons and Family Guy, because that really shocked me. I knew that King of the Hill was a very popular show, but I didn't think it could ever beat Simpsons, especially Family Guy. Like, when I saw that King of the Hill beat Family Guy, that really got to me. But either way, going back to the conversation about the Boondocks, it was winning by such a massive margin, and the interesting thing about that poll is that originally I also did a 4-part poll where I put Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, Family Guy, and King of the Hill, and Bob's Burgers was losing by like such a massive margin that I took it out. So it got to the point where it's like Bob's Burgers was losing too much, Boondocks was winning too much, and then I ultimately went with those three. And then when I did another poll, guys, here's the interesting thing that I found. The Boondocks was put up against South Park, it was put up against Futurama, and it was put up against Rick and Morty. And I decided that since Boondocks obviously can beat, you know, Simpsons, Family Guy, and King of the Hill, I'm gonna take it up a notch and go to even more popular shows, or at least other really popular shows out there, and see what could happen, because I know that those three shows are really, really popular amongst fans, and Boondocks steamrolled them. Won like 52% of the votes, if I remember exactly. It might be around that number, it might have changed slightly over the weeks, but the point is that Boondocks clocked everybody. It literally decimated every single show by such a massive margin that I was like, wow, it seems like Dragon Ball fans really like this. And then when I was thinking about a lot of SSJ Carter's, you know, parodies and stuff about, you know, Boondocks characters, and then also just seeing the fact that there's a lot of Dragon Ball related fan art. I mean, I'm using a thumbnail of Dragon Ball fan art of Boondocks, and I'm going to credit the artist, obviously. And the thing about that is that it just shows that there's a very, 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 very strong love for the Boondocks in the Dragon Ball community, guys. And to tell you the truth, Boondocks is one of those shows that if you want me to be like your classic Qua man giving you these in-depth discussions and stuff about the Boondocks, I mean, I can make hundreds of videos on that show, because it's something that really helped me learn a lot more about the black community, because obviously, for most people, you know, of a certain age range, when you first start watching these shows, you're underage, right? And as you get older, you start noticing more and more that, you know, as you get older, you start picking up on a lot of these references. But when you're really young, you don't quite understand these stereotypes and references, and you kind of have to age into them. And the Boondocks taught so much about black culture that I never even knew existed, you know, especially considering my background, because, you know, I'm technically American, but my parents weren't born here, so, you know, obviously I come from a Caribbean background, so it really helped me understand African American culture very strongly, you know. And I feel like as a Caribbean black person, it really helped me not only understand African American culture, but American culture as a whole, considering the fact that my parents were not as familiar, you know, with a lot of the references and stuff of this, and these are things that they had to learn over the years as they obviously got accustomed to living in this country. So it's one of those things, guys, where the Boondocks is really a great thing. And one thing that I love about the Boondocks that I just gotta say, and a lot of this came from Mike from Laughingstock Media, because over the last few weeks he and I have been talking about Boondocks and doing Boondocks content, and we've thought about it. And the thing is that we often make jokes about this. Same thing with Jack's Blade. I would often just like make random jokes about the Boondocks with these guys, and they would just get the references. Like, Boondocks is one of those shows, and everybody who's listening to this video can understand this with 100% certainty. The Boondocks is one of those shows that has timeless jokes that make so much sense. No matter if you have a conservative country or a liberal country, Boondocks can like adapt itself to everything. And it's really sad that John Witherspoon passed away, you know, a few years ago, you know, when they were trying to do like a Boondocks reboot, because I mean, I really feel like there's nobody who can bring that character to life. You know, the same thing with the Uncle Ruckus voice actor, whose name I completely forgot, but I know who he is, and obviously this is one of those things where Uncle Ruckus is such an interesting, polarizing character. And, you know, it's situations like this, guys, where it's like Boondocks is one of those shows that really unites you. And when you go back to a lot of these jokes that they make, it's like the Boondocks finds a way to do something that's over the top, but it's so well done in a realistic manner that your brain literally cannot forget it. Like, if you look at a character like a pimp named Slickback, you know, like that, or something like that, like, you can't get out of your mind a lot of the things that he said, like his quotes and the ways that he fulfills that black stereotype of a character is just, it's beautiful. Like, all of the characters follow their stereotypes in so many different ways, and I can go way more in depth about, you know, these in the future with examples, concrete proof, editing, and all that. So ultimately, guys, let me know how much you love the Boondocks, and also let me also understand if you would be interested in seeing me do Boondocks content, and really like participate in saying if you actually care. Like, because the thing is, guys, I'm just gonna flat out tell you the truth. Most people who watch YouTube videos don't comment. I get that, but commenting is the only way that I can get an understanding of what you want. So please comment or say something or hint with a like of how much you truly care about Boondocks, so that I would get an idea of how you feel, so that I can get an idea and communicate effectively to you guys the proper content that you want. And until next time, this is the end of the video.